And hello, everyone. It is another Calgary real estate show on Thursday, March 2nd, 2023. Welcome, everybody, if you're watching live or later on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. And I want to say hello to Jaden Bax of Avenue Financial once again this week, Jaden.
Hey, thanks for having me again. Always love spending some time with you guys. But although with a Chinooki day like today, let's get through this. Let's get outside.
I know, right?
Exactly.
We got some stuff. You know what? I'm not saying, Jaden, when our anniversary of starting this show was, I'm gonna have to go back in the archives because it might be close to 3 years now.
Yeah.
That's great. And you know what? I don't think I got you a present, so don't feel bad about it. So I'll take you for a nice dinner. It'll be great.
Yeah, and by nice dinner we mean lunch at Main Street Barbecue in Airdrie, right?
Absolutely, that's what we mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beef sweats
If there's no meat coma involved, it's a no go for me.
Well, it's not an anniversary then, right? So
Exactly. Yeah. I would say hello to my wife Natalie, but I've said hello to her multiple times today already.
Hello.
But hello, Natalie.
Hello, Mark. Hello,
You're talking about some decluttering, downsizing. It's kind of been our theme over the last couple of weeks. We did a presentation for some people on a webinar last week, Jaden, Natalie, and myself. We're going to talk a little bit more about that today. We're going to roll through the weekly stats pretty quick here because we have a lot to get to with it being month end. And new month, February stats are out. So in terms of the last week, we're back to the sale to new listing ratio being 112%, above 100. So sales were really good. I checked pendings as well. Pendings were, I think, at 193 for detached. So that's a lot, right? So 112% sale to new listing ratio. Days on market, it's the same. It's really been around that 30 to 35, 36 for the last 5 weeks. Price reduced 91, very similar again to the last 4 weeks. And this is not a typo. Our active detached at the time I pulled this at 11:30 was 1,017, exactly the same as last week. Everyone buy a lottery ticket. Total active 2,112. So that's slightly down. No, sorry, that's slightly up from last week. And yeah, so that's kind of the weekly stat package. Natalie, over to you with a look back at a year ago.
All right. So total sales are down 47%, which is, again, that's been pretty common this year. New listings are down 49%, almost 50%. So that's why we're seeing those crazy numbers happening. Active listings are down 22, almost 23%. And days on market is up 54.5% from 34 or from 30 or 22 to 34. I don't know what I'm saying today. Anyway.
Yeah, and I'll cover this a little more if we just go back to that slide. I'll cover this a little more in the February wrap up. Mm-hmm. But, that 34 days on market, let's keep this in mind. This is the average for all the segments and all the price points. And we can do this next week for people. It might be interesting. I wonder what the days on market is for detached home sales under 700,000 in the last week. I bet you it's less than half of that. So we'll make a little bet. Make a little bet with everyone out there. I don't know what if I lose, I might have to wear an Oilers jersey on camera. But oh, that would be horrible. All right, Jaden, over to you. Interest rate news.
Yeah, honestly, not a lot of things to talk about. A little bit of movement on the 20% down plus side, up about 0.15%. And really what we're seeing, all of this stuff from Bank of Canada, it's just amazing. Every time new numbers come out, they are very surprised, right? So we had those job numbers in January that they were very surprised, 10 times what they thought they were going to be. And then we had inflation that was, 0.3%, which was in that case significantly less than they thought it was going to be. And now our GDP in the last quarter of 2022 was flat. 0% growth, and they thought there would be around 1.2, 1.3%. So they were flabbergasted by that as well. So what does that mean for you? It means that we don't know what's going to happen with the markets, but we can be relatively sure that we're not going to see any more raises on the variable side from prime. If we do see one, maybe a quarter point at some point. We're seeing a little bit of divergence from the American market, which is really interesting. We tend to follow each other pretty closely, but I think we've come to a point where the American market is going to keep pushing things higher. And we're not going to go that way. We're going to kind of stay the course and probably start going down by the end of the year. But that American market at this time is pushing the bond market in Canada higher, which means fixed interest rates have gone up slightly from what they were, a week or two ago. And that is the effect of, a lower Canadian dollar because American interest rates are higher and all these other things. That's not going to last. We really think that's a little bit sticky right now, but there's going to be some divergence with the bond market over the next couple of months here. So I think you can expect that we're close to what we're going to be maxing out at during this kind of session of rates in terms of fixed interest rates. You might see that 4.79 on the 5-year high ratio head up closer to a 5, a 4.99. You can never predict what's going to happen in the future, but all of the data on the outside looking in is looking at a market where we're finally stabilizing and then kind of preparing ourselves to start heading lower in the second half of the year.
Awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So going with that whole theme, we've been talking about downsizing, which is a big one. This room stresses me out, this picture.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
It's a lot. But this is clearly a home that someone's lived in for 30, 40, 50 years, which happens a lot. So that's the whole basis of this conversation. All right, so steps to take if you're thinking about downsizing. The first and most important one is figuring out what kind of home you're going to downsize. Are you going into an apartment condo? Are you going into a townhouse or a smaller detached homes? A lot of people, especially at this time, like our age bracket, maybe not yours, Jaden, but me and Mark, as your kids grow up and they're moving out, you might have a big family, 2-story home, 4 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms, whatever. And you're like, yeah, I'd go to the basement like once a month just to make sure there's no leaks, that kind of thing. So it's a good step. You may want to just go into a bit of a smaller house or a bungalow, whatever. So that really determines how much actual decluttering and all that kind of downsizing thing you're going to do. So the biggest one too, because if you've been in your home for many years, you have a lot of sentimental items that you want, that you love, you feel like you can't live without them. You really need to take stock of those items that you just can't live without. And then, figuring out what items you really can part with. So when you go to list your home, this is where staging comes in. So staging is following the rule of 3. It's decluttering, depersonalizing, and having flow. So you want to showcase every room needs to have a purpose. And you want to maximize your layout of your furniture in that. So people come in and they're like, okay, well, this is the living area. I can be really cozy, all that kind of stuff. And it's allowing potential buyers by taking all your personal items away. So family photos, all the degrees, all those kind of things that are all over the walls. It allows them to come in and go, oh, I can fit my sectional over here. I'm going to love this. This will be a great room for my kids to sleep in, all that kind of stuff. So once you start doing that, decluttering and depersonalizing, that's where you sort of come into play where you're like, okay, I have this special sideboard that was my grandma Kay's. I want to give this to my child. So you ask your kids, hey, do you want to take this? Or you have family or friends that you want to give items to. If they don't want them, then that's why you get rid of them. You can't take them with you. So it's either selling them online on Marketplace, that kind of thing, donating them. A really great thing is Habitat for Humanity has a really good program that they'll actually come to your home, pick up your items you don't want and take them and they resell them. And it all goes towards building new homes for underprivileged people or taking garbage to the dump. That's really what it comes down to. If it's a lot for you to take on, a company like Relocate Stress Free is a great option. They will literally come in and they will go through the items. They'll box them up for you. They have a storage solution service that they can take items out. They also can do estate sales. So if you have a bunch of furniture that you don't know how to sell them on Marketplace, you don't feel comfortable doing that, they can do a full estate sale for you. After their commission, they'll give you the proceeds from that. And they also do a thing, I just realized this morning, that they will, if your house is empty or vacant and you're off living your best life in Mexico, they will come and they can mow your lawn. They can do snow removal. They can do all of that kind of stuff to help for insurance purposes to make sure that your house is still legal and all that good stuff. So that's awesome. It. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact us. I'm happy to help. We're happy to help in any way that we can to make it as stress-free as possible. That's the whole thing. It's supposed to be fun. It can seem overwhelming, but it's just taking those steps, and it can be quite an easy thing at the end of the day.
Awesome. There's some community events. Honestly, I tried to pull them today. There's a lot of stuff going on in March. There's obviously the International Women's Day coming up. So there's a lot of events. I just highly recommend going to Global Calgary's events page. Tons of good stuff coming up there. And we got our first fine happening. Somebody's phone ringer wasn't off. So Calgary Wranglers coming up. A whole bunch of us are actually going to that game on March 7th versus Colorado. They also have their fan appreciation game coming up towards the end of March, so we'll give you more details on that. I know Natalie would be interested in this one, and that is Paleo 2023 at Mount Royal. Tons of stuff about paleontology. I think it's like a full day thing. So again, all the details are on Global Calgary's events page. And let's get to the big meat and the potatoes here, the February wrap up. Natalie, if you would do the honors. So here is the wrap up. So this is a very, 30,000 foot view. Couple of highlights here. This is the lowest inventory level we've seen since 2006. We had a 73% sale to new listing ratio in the month of February. And the market is starting to balance on the detached side of things at $700,000 and above. So if you're under that, which we've experienced with our clients, we sold their home here in Woodbine in a day and a half for 110% of asking, 112% of asking. Sales are down because there's no inventory. Look at the new listings. New listings are down massively as well. Look at the months of supply. So months of supply and sale to new listing ratio tell if it's a seller's or buyer's market. In most of the segments and price points in Calgary, we're still very much in a seller's market. We'll go to that next slide. So we want to be done before Jaden, so Jaden can go sit out on his deck. So there you can see we actually on the detached side even had a price increase month over month, 2.2% up year over year. Still the lowest inventories, amongst the lowest inventories ever in February, and under 2 months of supply in detached. And then we'll go to semi-detached. So still higher than last year's ultra low levels of inventory, still favoring the seller, slight bump up from January's pricing and 2.67% up year over year. And then when we roll over to row townhouses, this is where things are still super tight. Sale to new listing ratio of 87%. So for every 10 homes that hit the market, 8.7 of those were selling. Or for every 100 homes, 87 were selling. However, whatever math you want to do. So if you are selling a row townhouse right now, let's chat, because you have an amazing opportunity. Look at the year over year price increase of 9%. Like detached and semi-detached were 2 and 2.67% year over year, 9%. Look at the jump even from January. Like that's $8,300 just from January to February. So row townhouse, if it's something that you're either an investor and you're looking to divest of some, make some money, right? You've had it for 8 or 9 years. Now is a great time to get out of the market and cash out of that row townhouse property. And I love this for our apartment condo people. Let's go to that one. 11.3% up year over year. Look at the price increase from January to February. This is crazy. What's interesting is there's still inventory hitting the market, but there's just a lot of demand, persistently strong sales. That's what the Calgary Real Estate Board calls them. Relatively low. We're still 7% below the 2014 highs. So this is really important. So if you're downsizing, and we have clients that are downsizing, it makes so much sense because you're going to get more than you would have gotten for your home in 2014 if you have a detached home, especially in the $500,000-$700,000 range, and I would say slightly above that as well. And then you're going to go into an apartment condo. You're still going to be a net positive, I guess is the best way to say it. And then let's roll through our bedroom communities here. So Airdrie prices basically flat year over year. Went up from January though, about $7,000. So it's super tight up there. 178 units available, below long-term trends. And you can see again, the high was April 2022 when that benchmark price was over 510. And then when we go to Cochrane, A similar story to Airdrie, 2.5% up year over year. A little bit of a bump up from January, and persistently tight market conditions. I think that's the overarching theme. 40% below long-term levels for inventory. And then when we move south to Okotoks, sales and new listings have slowed compared to last year. Again, that's a broken record, super tight. Sales to new listing ratio there in Okotoks of 90%. 90%, that's crazy seller's market territory. You can see the pretty healthy bump up from January to February, and then 3.2% up year over year. So it'll be really interesting when we hit the highs in these different communities and Calgary, kind of April, May, June, what our benchmark prices will be this year. Will we continue to see them, kind of climb up? And that's the wrap up of February. So I find that very interesting, right? Like, I think it's the story that we've been telling week over week is, yes, there's less inventory. Yes, there's less active listings, but it's all relative, right? Like, you may be only getting, 50% of the sales, but there's 50% less inventory. So, it's all relative. It's still a great time to sell. And so we're helping people do that quite a bit these days. So get in touch with us, place a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube or LinkedIn, and Facebook. Obviously, you can just message us right from either my personal page or the business page, and we'd love to help you out. So that is it for this week.
All right.
Well, thanks for having me again. Great to have 3-ish years with you, Mark, and
3-ish years, yeah. It was somewhere around when COVID started, right?
Perfect. Yeah. And it's we feel like we're bringing value every week for 3 years, right? So
yeah, we hope people are enjoying it, and whether you're a stats nerd or not, you tune in once a month, twice a month, or every week. We really do appreciate it. And I'm gonna go back in the archives and find out what the first date was, but it was when COVID started and all that kind of stuff. Thanks, Bill. Thanks for watching again this week. And that's Bill over at Woodridge, Lincoln. I'm not going to screw it up this week. So everyone have a great week and enjoy the sunshine today and tomorrow. And then I don't want to talk about what's happening on Sunday and Monday, but eventually spring's coming, allegedly, because we get to spring forward. And was it next week or the week after?
I think so. The 11th or something like that.
Yeah, it's just too soon. But anyway, you enjoy it. Have a great weekend, everybody. And we'll see you in 7 days.
Bye, guys.